When the red and yellow went silent, an era ended. Early on the morning of July 24, 2025, Clearwater first responders raced to Terry Hulk Hogan Bollea's Florida home after a 911 report of cardiac arrest. He was taken out on a stretcher. Hours later, WWE confirmed the man who turned regional grappling into mainstream spectacle had died at 71. Streams of classic promos surged, handmade Hulkamania signs appeared outside arenas, and debate reignited. How did one performer drag pro wrestling into living rooms worldwide, survive scandals that would have buried most celebrities, and still command headlines and death? Stay with me, because every chapter of Hogan's story adds a new layer to that answer. Before the headbands and pyro, Hogan was a bass-playing, 6'7" Florida gym rat who bounced between regional promotions. His real transformation began when the World Wrestling Federation pointed him straight at the Iron Sheik in January 1984. One leg drop later, and the World Heavyweight Championship changed hands. Instant ignition for the phenomenon dubbed Hulkamania. Kids mimicked his ear-cupping pose. Parents bought foam fingers. The catchphrases, "Say your prayers," "Eat your vitamins," made him a Saturday morning superhero. His charisma broadened wrestling beyond a smoky male niche into a family outing, turning pay-per-views into national events and making WrestleMania viable. Hollywood noticed. A cameo as Thunderlips in Rocky III positioned him as a crossover attraction, and toy aisles flooded with bandanas and bendable action figures. Yet constant heroism stagnates. To stay atop a business built on fresh drama, Hogan would eventually have to break the very image he created. And what came next shocked every fan who'd ever ripped a yellow shirt in their living room. By the mid-1990s, audiences were embracing edgier anti-heroes. Cue 1996. At Bash at the Beach, Hogan stormed the ring, dropped a leg on longtime ally Randy Savage, and aligned with outsiders Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. The New World Order was born, and the clean-cut patriot mutated into sneering Hollywood Hogan. The heel turn detonated ratings during the Monday Night Wars, proving Reinvention could eclipse nostalgia. Suddenly, black and white shirts outsold the red and yellow, and fans packed arenas just to boo the man they once deified. He rode that momentum through multi-era feuds. The earlier giant-slamming spectacle with Andre, grudge wars against Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage, and finally the generational clash versus Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at WrestleMania X8, an audio earthquake that showed Hogan could still manipulate crowd emotion like a maestro. Reinvention had bought him longevity, but outside the ropes, a new spotlight, reality television, would expose vulnerabilities far harder to script. And this time, the storyline would spin beyond his control. VH1's Hogan Knows Best gave America front row seats to Hogan's household. Marital strain, daughter Brooke's pop ambitions, son Nick's missteps. Instead of the invincible superhero, viewers saw a dad pacing kitchens and fretting over curfews. The intimacy built a different fan base, but also opened a door for scandal. In 2015, a secretly recorded intimate tape surfaced, containing Hogan using racist language. Backlash was immediate. WWE scrubbed him from its Hall of Fame and programming, gutting a legacy decades in the making. Then came the courtroom counterpunch. Hogan sued the media company that published the tape, winning a massive judgment that accelerated its collapse and turned privacy law into front-page debate. Years later, after public apologies, WWE reinstated him. First personally, then again collectively when the U entered the hall in 2020, an uneasy rehabilitation that never fully silenced critics. Even at the 2024 Republican National Convention, he leaned into showmanship, reminding the country that Hulkamania and political theater both thrive on spectacle. Repaired image or not, the clock was ticking. Decades of leg drops and back bumps had carved a medical bill few bodies could afford, and the final opponent waiting was one no storyline could pin. Behind evergreen charisma lurked a catalog of injuries, hip replacements, spinal procedures, countless cleanups from ring wear. Friends whispered about mobility issues. Detractors claimed he was held together by screws. By spring 2025, online rumor mills insisted he was on his deathbed following a May neck procedure. His wife Sky publicly swatted the talk, stating his heart was strong and recovery ongoing. Hogan himself appeared at public events, flashing trademark poses to prove resilience. He also kept building. Beer brands, restaurants, and new ventures signaled a man refusing quiet retirement. Then he announced perhaps his most ambitious late-life project, Real American Freestyle, an amateur wrestling league scheduled to debut August 30th on Fox Nation. Even as rehab lingered, he was filming promos, pitching sponsors, and promising to give kids the platform I never had. Ambition, however, could not outrun biology. Weeks later, that promotional hustle would double as his curtain call. In the pre-dawn hours of July 24, Pinellas County Emergency Services logged a cardiac arrest call from Hogan's home. Responders arrived with multiple police cars and EMT units, moving the WWE icon onto a stretcher and into an ambulance. He was later pronounced dead, initial reports citing the cardiac episode, while formal details remained under review. The timing stunned supporters. Only a month earlier, his camp had dismissed health panic rumors. Only weeks earlier, he had pitched Real American Freestyle. The abruptness amplified shock value. No farewell tour, no staged retirement speech. One morning, the industry debated his next cameo. By midday, it drafted eulogies. And those eulogies revealed how complicated his shadow truly is. WWE released a swift statement praising a performer who helped popularize wrestling as a global form of entertainment, while outlets from Reuters to ESPN summarized a career that body-slammed regionalism into a billion-dollar spectacle. Social feeds filled with split images. 1980s headband hero versus weathered elder statesman. Fans reminisced about the day he slammed Andre the Giant, or the goosebumps of watching NWO spray paint titles. Yet tributes arrived alongside reminders of transgressions. Critics resurfaced the racist tape fallout, arguing that celebration should not erase harm. Supporters countered that reinvention and apology remained part of the Hogan canon. Political appearances kept discourse polarized. Some hailed a patriotic showman, others dismissed late career optics as opportunism. In Norway, Spain, and U.S. regional press, international obituaries highlighted both triumphs and controversy, underscoring his singular reach. Amid dispute, one fact held: modern sports entertainment infrastructure, from pay-per-view marketing to licensing synergy, bears his fingerprints. Which leaves a final question: what legacy truly survived that last leg drop? Hogan exits as a double Hall of Famer, first individually and later as the engine of the NWO, a rare distinction illustrating both personal drawing power and collective innovation. He legitimized wrestling's crossover economics: film roles, Rocky III, reality television, Hogan Knows Best, merchandise saturation, even light beer branding and amateur league incubation. The villainous reinvention of 1996 set a template for future megastars to flip alignment as business demanded. Yet his life also stands as a cautionary tale about celebrity culture, how private words can detonate public reputations, how lawsuits can redraw media boundaries, and how reinvention sometimes depends on forgiving audiences. To younger performers, he leaves a playbook: build a character bigger than the ring, own your narrative before others weaponize it, and never fear rewriting the script. In the end, the final bell doesn't erase contradictions, it cements them. The question isn't whether Hogan was a hero or heel, it's how one human being managed to be both, at scale, for 4 decades. And that duality is why people who never watched a headlock still know the name. Hulk Hogan's story began as a swell of crowd noise inside a regional arena and ended in a Florida silence pierced by ambulance sirens. In between, he built a mythology, broke it, repaired parts of it, and kept hustling toward another reinvention even as time narrowed. Whether you remember the wide-eyed champion preaching vitamins or the black-bearded villain tossing toothpicks, his influence shaped the entertainment language pro wrestling speaks today. Drop your memories below. First match, favorite feud, or moment you soured, and let's talk. Was Hogan ultimately redeemed, or does an asterisk hang beside the Hulkamania banner? Hit like, subscribe, and keep the conversation rolling, brother, because legacies, just like leg drops, are still felt long after the impact.